Alright, we've just kicked off the range test for the Lycaon Swift belt. We got the 90mm wheels on today. So here's the remote, we got full charge and we've got Relive tracking in the background too. So admittedly I've been putting off this range test for a little while because these 90mm wheels look to get a pretty good distance from other range tests I've seen. So Scott Davies got 35 kilometers on this board and he's probably about 20 kilos bigger than me, so I'm expecting about 40 kilometers today on these 90mm wheels. We'll see how we go. It's 466 watt hour battery, 12 S3P. Got some cobblestones here. So we're sitting at about 28 degrees, but it feels like 31 with the humidity today, so it's really warm out. It looks like there might be some rain coming, but I checked the weather and it's meant to hold off for another few hours yet. The sky's saying another thing at the moment, so fingers crossed. Coming up to the bridge now, see how these 90mm go on the wood panels here. Noisy, can't say those are as smooth as the clouds, but of course they're not going to be. The urethane's always a bit harder. It'd be interesting to see how 100mm urethanes would go on this board. I've got a 105 cloud test, range test on this board coming up, because I presume there's a lot of people who are considering that size. Considering the 105s for this board, I think that's the perfect size, but it would be really interesting to see the difference in range and how much of it affects the board, because if you can still get around 30 k's, 25 k's, for me that's plenty. I'm doing my usual riding style of course today, just hanging out in high gear, opening it up where I can. You can see on Relive when I post that at the end how hard I've gone. This on the remote high goes to about 41 kilometers an hour, so it shouldn't be getting too much higher than that, but I've already reached it a few times, so you'll see those on the graph. For me that's real world riding. I think we all like to open the board up when we get the opportunity. Busy down at the boat ramp today on a Wednesday. Certainly not common, but it's Australia Day today, so happy Australia Day to anyone that's watching. January 26th, we celebrate every year, public holiday, so it's nice to have a day off in the middle of the week. Just checking in, we've dropped to 4 bars out of the 5, but mysteriously we've just gone back up to 5 bars, so we're at 8.5 k's. I'll check in and see when that comes back up again. Yeah, back down to 4 bars, so that was almost instant. 8.7 kilometers. Going really well. Last range test I did pretty much the same route and I came up at 4 bars a bit quicker on the much larger battery on the Lycaon TRX2. Had the 115 rubbers on there, however. From memory I think we got 31.4 kilometers on that trip. If you're interested to hear my thoughts about the board, I really love it, but I have done a full review, which I'll post up here or here, wherever it fits. So go check that out. I do prefer the clouds on this board, but I am really enjoying this ride so far on the 90s. Super stable, cranking along at 40 k's on these paths and feel really safe and locked in on this W concave deck. Really great board for the price, $7.99, and sometimes it's $100 less than that. Great value. If you can hear the path under me now, it's punishing on these 90mm wheels. Super busy down by the beach today, so it is a little bit stop-start as I try and navigate my way around people, and unfortunately I can't keep a consistent speed for the sake of the battery, but it is a real-world test and real-world riding. It's what we encounter sometimes, and those who ride in the city I'm sure will be a lot more used to it than I am. We're sitting at 13.3 k's at the moment. Just stopped for my first break to give the foot a bit of a stretch, so not too bad in regards to foot fatigue really, given I've been on paths at least half of this distance, as you would have heard in the last little snippet. So pretty happy with that comfort wise. You know, given it's a stiff deck, you can't ask for much more than that. Pretty comfortable. Quick update, just dropped down another bar, so we're down to 3 bars now, 13.9 kilometers. So it's tracking really similar to the last range test I did with the rubbers. I do think I've been riding a little bit harder on this one where I get the chance though, so we'll see that with the average speed when I put that up at the end. We're sitting at 18.9 k's, turning around, head back home here. It's not too far before the last range test. We dropped down to 2 bars, so I'm expecting that to come up soon, and I don't want the range anxiety we had coming back home, hoping I was going to get back on a full battery, or without the battery going completely dead last time. So made the executive decision to do that, and we're not doing the little grass patch I went over last time since we got the 90mm wheels on, so I thought I'd turn around early, make up the rest of the range when we know we're close. I really think this still at the price point is a really great first board option, because it has that ceiling where you're going to be able to have tons of fun for a long time. There's nothing worse than getting a board just because it's cheap and then figuring out pretty quickly, I want to go faster, I want to go further, and then having to try sell that board and buy something a little bit more expensive that you could have just bought in the first place. So, you know, there are quite a few good options around that $400 to $500 US price point now, but I still think you probably benefit from spending the extra couple of $100 and just getting a board like this from the get-go, especially the belt drive, when you have all the options to try all the different wheels that you want to try. My tip anyway. So we just dropped down to 2 bar, sitting at 20.7 k's. Might have missed that by a few hundred meters as I was just chatting away. So yeah, going really well. Not worried about getting back on 2 bars with these wheels on. I'm sure it'll be perfect, so just enjoy the ride back home. Just got the first buzz on the controller at 24.7 Ks. I didn't catch what it was actually saying, if it did say anything on the screen, so we'll just ignore it and keep going as though it never happened. Alright, now I caught it. It says low voltage 20%, so 20% battery left, probably about 10 kilometers to go, something like that. Might ease off the throttle a little bit for a few Ks at least, and nurse the battery home slightly to make sure we do get there and we can open it up a bit more when we get a bit closer, but I think we should be fine. We have been riding super hard, and I'm sure we'll see that on the average speed. Just dropped down to 1 bar, 26.6 kilometers. So pretty confident we'll get back. Still got full speed, and this high mode can get to 40 Ks, no dramas. Going along at 36, 35 kilometers right now. Just been going up between 2 and 1 bar still. Getting our first few spits of rain. There's been some wet paths around, but I haven't got soaked yet. I've just been through the puddles, so I have to watch out for these wheels skidding, but they're pretty grippy. Haven't had any. Well, I'm getting rained on, so I'm gonna have to nurse the board back, so hopefully I don't skid out on anything. Not the weather you want to be riding electric skateboard in, so fingers crossed for me. We've just gone down to 1 bar, and we're losing in that high mode. We certainly don't have the acceleration. This is full throttle here. I think we could get a few more kilometers out of the board still, but since it's raining and it's nursing the battery in terms of not giving me full throttle anymore, I'll turn around and head back to our starting point and do a final reading. Certainly less than ideal conditions. And if you know what it's like riding in Queensland, Australia, there's always a lot of stuff on the ground. It rains a lot here, it gets windy, especially in summer, so yeah, you got to be pretty careful. Alright, so we've just finished up here. My phone's a little bit wet, but you can see 30.9 kilometers, hour and 14 minutes, and 25 kilometers an hour average speed. So I was really pushing that pretty hard, and certainly that average speed would have dropped off the last couple of kilometers because it got wet. So hopefully you can see that all and relive. 30.8 kilometers, and it's just gone back up to 1 bar. It was 0 when I stopped there, so 30.8 kilometers on the remote. Certainly it wouldn't get too much further than that because it's not allowed me to go over 20 kilometers an hour anymore, but you could probably get another few kilometers out of it, possibly, based on my other Lycaon board, which was down to 0% for a little bit longer than that. But yeah, it's indicative of how long this board can go anyway, with some really hard riding. So yeah, thanks for watching today. Please like, subscribe and comment. Anything you want to see, let me know. Happy to try and get my hands on a board and shoot something anyone wants to see. I've got Cloud 105 range test coming up next on the same board, so I'll ride it in the same way, as hard as I can, that's how I like to ride recreationally. So I would say the average speed will hopefully be the same. I'm guessing we'll probably get about 25 kilometers, but it'll be really interesting to see what we get out of that. I also have a range test and review coming up on the tiny board, so the tiny board mini, so stay tuned for that. Should be good. We have the 90mm and 105 clouds for that. So cheers for watching, leave a comment, like, subscribe, catch you later. Cheers, bye.